Welcome to the Becoming a Principal podcast, a podcast for aspiring educational leaders. I'm Matt. Jordan and I, who's not here today, we are high school administrators in Ontario, Canada, and we're excited to share our experiences with you. The purpose of this podcast is designed to provide inspiration and support for educators considering leadership roles. We plan to discuss a range of topics related to educational leadership to help you on your journey to become and thrive as a school leader. So did know Jordan today. Today is a chance for me to reflect on my first year as a vice principal at a secondary school. On an earlier episode, we spoke about the importance of reflection, and Jordan and I were using this podcast as a way for us to do just that and bounce ideas around and share our ideas with you and help clarify some of our thinking with one another. In the last year, so it was my first year as a VP, and since then, I suppose I've taken a few weeks here in the summer to reflect on that, and I'm ready to share some of those initial thoughts with you. Thinking back to what my initial expectations were for the VP role and how they compared to the reality of it, it's interesting. I was connected with some administrators as I was thinking about whether I should take that leap of faith and move into that position in the school and, really serve a community in a different way. And coming from the classroom or, spending a couple years at our board office supporting schools, I did not really have the lens of what it meant to support students and families in a different way. That was always an intervention that I leaned on our guidance team or our student success team or administrators to support students who I could no longer support in the classroom. So I didn't have that look of what that would be like. But you quickly are thrust into it. And I really got to say, first off, everyone was so gracious with their time and knowledge and supporting me. With teaching me different aspects of what that looked like and the different tools I had at my disposal as an administrator to support students and families and teachers. And thinking about all those different teachers in the school and support staff and my colleague administrators. And you get so wrapped up in supporting students and families and staff all day long, where some days are just really a whirlwind and they go by so quickly. And you don't really have a flavor for that, but, I love that type of work, looking at that, just that fast-paced work where the situation could be different minute to minute, and you're just constantly learning something new each day. And it was almost to the point where that was my mindset, not almost to the point. It was the point of my drive in. I was thinking about, okay, let's see what's going to happen today and let's just embrace it and learn from it. And, you're just adding skills to your own toolbox when that's happening. So you just realize what a team effort it is. And, just to share one story with you, you get into the role and you hear different stories of what some situations administrators have dealt with in the past. And in the first week of school, I have a parent and a student in my office just really yelling at me for a situation I don't have the context of, something that happened in the year prior. And you're just thinking to yourself, this is it. This is what I'm here for, to help these people and really build the bridge between their issue and getting them back into a place where they can thrive in the school. And you just realize that it's not about you, those situations. And really, they're coming from a place where they just want the best for themselves or for their student. And you're just there to help serve them, to get them to that place too, where you might think it's a different place that they need to get to. And in the long run, through conversation and building relationships with them, you are able to do that, I would say. Although for some cases, it takes a while to get there. So you just really realize the importance of relationships in the school. when working with staff, students, and their families. So an effective thing that I found for myself was really just walking around the building in the morning before school started and trying to connect with as many people as I did. We have a large school where we have over 100 staff members, and it's not to say that I could get around to seeing all of them even within a given week, but trying to get around to as many people as possible, just saying good morning, connecting with them, seeing if there was anything they need, or, a lot of the time they brought an issue to you as you were walking around. And I just found that to be such an important strategy for me to connect with them more than just at formal times when they're looking for something. And it just makes the work much easier when you already have a relationship with those people. The other piece too is, even for something that's so small that you think it's not really significant, always calling a family to follow up with them. I think that went a long way to building a relationship and trust between that family and myself and the school. And I think that that certainly did pay off in the long run. Also realizing that not everything is an emergency, and it doesn't have to necessarily be followed up with right away. Sometimes that can happen on your own timeline. Otherwise, you're just swamped with, you're running around trying to answer people right away, and it's just not how things can operate. But knowing that while it's not an emergency, it's an emergency to some people, and trying to honor that and work through that as best as you can, and just trying to triage at times how you can go about doing that. And then the last piece is also coaching people through that as well. So they're really there to support their colleagues and themselves, and you're building their own skill. And I'll talk a little bit about that more in a second. Another thing I want to share is how I try to maintain balance in my own life as a new vice principal. One thing I really was good at as a classroom teacher was I was in this place where I did a lot of my own professional learning. And I felt like that made such an impact on my classroom, but I wasn't able to do that last year. I was just in a place where I thought I would do everything I could to take care of business in the school and learn from the people around me, but I wasn't going to be able to come home and do my own reading in the evening or, engage with people online in a way that I did in the classroom. Trying to get back to that this year coming up, but I really try to focus on myself at school, and that's where all the learning was going to come from. At home, I was mostly good at turning it off and just being home and just spending time with the people around me. I realized that checking emails, especially before bed, isn't the greatest idea. Sometimes you get an email that you think like you just want to help somebody right away and help solve a problem, and you realize you can't, and the timing's not right for that. And it's some of those emails just keep you up thinking about what you're going to do in the morning, and it's just not helpful to look at before bed, I found for myself. So I had a strategy that worked in the end where I would get in early the next day and scan for those types of emails, if there were any at all, that might need to be dealt with first, and just realize like anything I'm looking at in the evening can be dealt with the next day. And if it was a true emergency, somebody would call me anyway. So that's right there. That went a long way to helping me be restful and sleep at night and ready for the next day. Now, heading into my second year, I'm excited for what's to come and what I'm going to be able to achieve compared to my first year. In September last year, I really showed up to the school thinking I was an imposter, certainly feeling like I was, where everyone around you has so much more knowledge and information, and you really have to take the time to just sit in the learning and trying to learn as much as you can each and every day, And certainly June last year felt great compared to September, and I was able to do much more and have much more of an impact. But now, realizing that I need to make the most out of my time each day, not falling into a trap of working on things that don't have much of an impact, but really trying to set intentions each and every day of what I need to focus on, because those are the things that are going to matter most. Identifying those things that matter most, putting those to paper, and focusing on those things first. I think that's how I'm going to have much more of an impact throughout the school day. Obviously, I need to continue to spend time listening and learning, but I do feel more prepared to lead differently and add to the areas of the school where I can see more support is needed. I also felt like I became a help desk at times. I fell into that trap, meaning people would bring their problems to me, whether that was parents, staff, or students, and I would just help them solve the problem. And I'd solve it for them in a lot of ways. But I didn't really do a lot of capacity building. So I continued to be that help desk where people would just continue to come to me, but I was not really adding to their own abilities to solve the problem. And that's definitely something I need to work on, is how to coach people through that so they can support themselves and their colleagues rather than just continue to use the office to do that. And then the last thing I'm thinking about is how I can improve the role of vice principal. I have that in the back of my mind. I really felt like as a classroom teacher, I improved teaching, and not only in my own classroom and my department, but across the school and the school board because of the roles I've held. And in the back of my mind, I really want to try to reflect on my day-to-day and think about how I can improve this role of vice principal for people who are in that position now by collaborating with them, and for the people who are to come, and thinking about what needs to happen to make this job appealing to people and find a way for myself to be more effective in working with people in the school and the school community. Thanks for listening to Becoming a Principal podcast. We're grateful for the time again that you spent with us, and we hope we've been helpful in some way to you. Be sure to check out our Instagram at Becoming a Principal podcast. Have a great day, everyone.